Hey everyone, how's it going? For today's presentation, let's take an up-close and personal, in-depth look at the 2005 Porsche Carrera GT. And this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the Carrera GT. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clipping over the performance data, and show you a bunch of the unique aspects of the interior as well as exterior. Before we begin, I'd like to extend a big thanks and special shout out to Prestige Imports Lamborghini Miami, located in Miami, Florida, for providing the Carrera GT featured in today's in-depth review. For more information on their dealership, including contact info and current exotic inventory, feel free to check out their website provided in the description box below. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up, let her run. Now this exterior color is known as GT Silver Metallic, nicely complemented by an all-black premium leather interior and plenty of carbon fiber trim. So, in order to start the vehicle, as in traditional Porsche fashion, the ignition cylinder is to the left of the steering column. Go ahead and put the key in, depress the brake and clutch, and then flick it to the right to start. Beautiful sound. The Carrera GT features power-assisted rack and pinion steering with column mounted directly to the monocoque for a more rigid design. It's all routed through a 3-spoke leather-wrapped steering wheel with cross-stitching, grip bolsters up top, and leather-wrapped airbag cover. The standard and only gearbox available is a 6-speed manual, and it was the world's first production car to feature a carbon ceramic clutch. Measuring in at just 6.65 inches in diameter and weighing only 7.7 pounds, the twin-plate dry clutch was not only less than half the size of a traditional clutch plate at the time, but it was significantly lighter. Compared to a carbon fiber clutch used in racing, the ceramic design is far stronger for a longer service life. The inherent design of the clutch is said to allow for no slip, so, like a light switch, it's either engaged or not, taking a certain degree of skill to balance the throttle input for proper launches. If you ever need to replace one, though, it'll certainly not be cheap. Mounted transversely at the rear, the gearbox sits below the differential and was designed to be compact and play a part in lowering the center of gravity, while leaving enough clearance for the flat underbody panels and rear diffuser. The small size not only reduces powertrain inertia, but it also meant a dual-mass flywheel wouldn't have fit. Thanks to clever engineering of the input shafts, they were still able to reduce gearbox noise for quiet operation. A stratified birch wood shift knob was standard, while this one seems to be fitted with a carbon fiber cap. So, let's go ahead and flip on the headlamps, as well as the hazards. Both windows are fully automatic, of course. And we'll go and check out the exterior. Take a moment and think about some of the incredible pieces of automotive engineering that has debuted in recent years, and you'll realize we're living in one of the most exciting periods of automotive history, considering the wealth of technology, efficient performance, and cutting-edge designs that are available. None is probably more exciting for enthusiasts than the latest battle of the supercars between the Ferrari LaFerrari, McLaren P1, and Porsche 918 Spyder. All incorporating advanced hybrid powertrains and awe-inspiring power that makes even a Bugatti Veyron seem like yesterday's news. This tour de force of innovation comes few and far between. In fact, it's been just over a decade since a very similar competition ensued. When Porsche introduced the Carrera GT, the spiritual predecessor to the 918, the Ferrari Enzo, Celine S7, and perhaps even the Ford GT, although far less expensive, were some of the most hardcore vehicles available to the public. The Carrera GT, with its mid-mounted V10, pushrod suspension, and carbon fiber construction, was the very definition of the word supercar. What originally began as a project to develop a new Le Mans racer, the Carrera GT represented the brand's flagship, accumulation of lessons learned through Porsche's long history of motorsports. The styling was as bold as it got for Porsche at the time. Beginning with raised front fenders, elongated headlamps, and sloping front end, the Carrera GT wears its own signature design amongst familiar Porsche cues that not only give it a distinct supercar appearance, but ties in the past and helps maximize downforce in order to deliver the highest levels of performance regardless of speed. In fact, at its top speed of 205 miles an hour, it generates about 640 pounds of downforce, 70% of which is over the rear, incredible for a road-going vehicle. Largely thanks to a speed-dependent, deployable spoiler out back and completely flat underbody. Covered by carbon fiber panels, the underbody creates a slippery surface that channels air towards the back and through the rear diffuser, creating a suction force that draws the car closer to the ground at higher speeds. The front fascia features 3 deep intakes that provide cooling to the engine, transmission, and brakes, which also works to give it an aggressive look with flared lower lip. Providing further cooling out back are sculpted side panels that help channel air into a huge set of rear quarter vents, in addition to cross-drilled stainless steel power domes over the engine cover that extend up to the passenger compartment. Roll bars to either side, separated by an LED third brake light, provide extra safety, as well as the mounting points for the removable roof. Its chassis is primarily composed of a carbon fiber monocoque, which makes up the majority of the passenger compartment, front structure, and the center console. Being that carbon fiber weighs about 40% less than conventional materials, the carbon tub itself only weighs 220 pounds. A similar design seen in racing, the Carrera GT is built with a rolling chassis, which makes the car completely operational even without the body panels. The chassis incorporates all of the structural elements, mechanical bits, and electrical systems. Its unique open-top layout also allows for all-weather flexibility, consisting of 2 carbon fiber roof panels, each weighing about 5.3 pounds each. They can be put in place during inclement weather or easily removed and stowed within the luggage compartment. They don't add to structural rigidity, of course, which is why the carbon fiber tub is so important in making the car lightweight, extremely rigid, and safe, also why the side sills are so high. The carbon fiber subframe out back, which supports the powertrain and rear suspension, bolts up directly to the back of the monocoque. The engine block is even a load-bearing part of the chassis structure, affixed with 3 variable engine mounts to dampen out vibrations. Projector xenon headlamps and LED tail lamps provide modern illumination. Further structural reinforcements come from the use of high-strength steels, which not only forms the added structure of the A-pillars, but the tubular crash structures that work to cocoon the carbon fiber in the event of a minor accident. The vast majority of the body itself is actually made of carbon fiber, aside from the composite front and rear bumper covers. The rear does feature some exposed carbon fiber though, such as in the diffuser and midsection, which incorporates a sweet set of matte black dual outlets for the stainless steel exhaust. Starting MSRP for the Carrera GT was around $440,000, with total production around 1,270 units, just over 600 of those found homes in North America. The Carrera GT rides on a special set of staggered, lightweight, 5-spoke forged magnesium wheels with central locking hubs. Being that magnesium reduces weight by 25% compared to cast aluminum alloys, they further reduce unsprung weight, yielding greater spring and damper response for improved handling. Front wheels measure in at 19 by 9.5 inches and are wrapped in specially developed 265/35 high-performance Z-rated Michelin tires. Out back are a huge set of 20 by 12.5 inch wheels and 3 35/30 tires. With this setup, the Carrera GT has been tested to hold over 1 G of lateral acceleration. Providing stopping power to match the impressive performance is Porsche's ceramic composite carbon braking system. Measuring 14.96 by 1.34 inches at each corner, the cross-drilled vented rotors weigh about half of what a typical cast iron disc would, while boasting superior heat and fade resistance, leading to longer durability. 6-piston monoblock aluminum calipers provide the necessary bite to bring the car to a stop from 60 miles an hour in 101 feet. Its excellent handling was in part to an F1-derived independent pushrod suspension with forged unequal length control arms or double wishbones at each corner. The rear lower wishbones are actually made of high-strength steel with the addition of toe control links. There are many advantages to using pushrods, which relocate the springs and dampers inboard, including improved aerodynamics and reduced unsprung weight. The stainless steel pushrod pivots around a torsion lever to control the springs and dampers, essentially separating the guidance function and spring action. The control arms are bolted directly to the chassis without rubber isolators for more precise and direct response. It's all coupled to front and rear anti-roll bars. Overall length is 181.6 inches with a width of 75.6 inches and a height of 45.9 inches, running on a 107.5 inch wheelbase and ground clearance of 3.4 inches. Total curb weight is around 3,043 pounds. The Carrera GT is powered by a naturally aspirated 68-degree all-aluminum 5.7-liter V10. With large bore and stroke dimensions of 98 and 76 millimeters respectively, this powerhouse is able to rev up to 8,400 RPM. The sound created is so distinct it's hard to compare to anything other than an F1 car, or maybe even a Lexus LFA. Featuring dual overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder, variable valve timing, and a lofty compression ratio of 12:1, the engine features a number of additional advanced engineering tactics for its day. Dry sump lubrication not only provides proper oiling to vital components at high cornering speeds, but it gives the engine a lower center of gravity and even balances weight more efficiently. Titanium connecting rods and forged camshafts reduce inertia. Thanks to the dry sump system, small clutch, and layout of the engine, the forged crankshaft sits just 3.9 inches above the carbon fiber underbody panels. Closed deck architecture allows the cylinders to be cooled via internal water chambers that encompass the cylinders, which are coated using a combination of nickel and silicon to reduce internal friction and improve wear resistance without having to use cylinder liners. All in all, the engine only weighs 472 pounds or about 214 kilograms. It produces 605 horsepower at 8,000 RPM and 435 pound-feet of torque at 5,750 RPM. 0 to 60 times range between 3.5 and the manufacturer claimed 3.9 seconds with top speed of 205 miles an hour. Fuel economy is rated at 10 miles to a gallon in the city and 16 on the highway with a 24.3-gallon tank and premium gas. As in any race-bred supercar, the interior design is meant to be simple yet advanced and highly functional, keeping the driver focused on the task at hand with minimal distractions. Leather wraps all of the essential touch points with high-gloss carbon fiber dominating just about everything else from the door panels to the floor pan. As light as the Carrera GT was, it still came with a number of comfort features such as power windows, locks and mirrors, leather upholstery, hands-free telephone, Bose audio, and even a simple navigation system. Filtered air conditioning was an additional option. Also standard were dual front and door-mounted side airbags. The center console is part of the carbon fiber tub and is covered in galvanized magnesium that flows down like a waterfall. The other silver composites across the dash and doors were painted to match the magnesium. For 2005, a new seat design added height adjustment and more thigh support for increased comfort. The carbon fiber and Kevlar racing buckets were directly inspired from motorsports, featuring a fixed back but wrapped in soft, high-quality leather. They only weigh 23 pounds, which is about half the weight of a typical 911 seat. Holes up in the upper backrest provide easy mounting areas for racing harnesses. Providing a little bit of a barrier between the carbon fiber rear portion and the back of the seat is a diamond quilted piece of cloth trim. Across the entry threshold, you'll see, like I talked about earlier, that it is high, but that was necessary to provide the extra rigidity with the open top concept. Everything down below, including the door sill, is all finished in high-gloss carbon fiber, which is really cool in person. Carrera GT aluminum entry guards, as well as floor-mounted aluminum sport pedals that provide a very race car-like feel. The steering wheel is manually adjusting, you do have your lighting controls off to the left, and a very 911-like instrument cluster.
So let's go ahead and see if she sounds. So let's go ahead and shut her up. Good solid door panels.
Like I said, the interior layout is very simple and minimalistic, but features fantastic build quality and decent ergonomics for all the necessary driving features. I also like how the shifter is up at the same level as your hands on the steering wheel. A 6-speaker 100-watt Bose audio system came as standard equipment. Just ahead of the shifter you have the vehicle's production number, as well as 3 buttons that correspond to the traction control, deployable spoiler, and the locking system. Your power windows across the slender center console, as well as your air conditioning controls and 3 simple rotary dials. Small hideaway storage tray and a leather-wrapped armrest. As far as the gauges, it's your traditional 5-pod Porsche setup with central mounted tachometer. In the lower part of the steering column you have a little lever that controls the driver info system at the bottom of the tachometer. Windshield wipers and headlamp washers to the right, and to the left turn signals and high beams.
Alright, let's go ahead and shut her down. And we'll go ahead and pop the boot. And we're going to check out the rest of the vehicle, shall we?
As you would expect, there's not much storage space up in the front compartment. When you don't have the top stowed away, it's around 2.7 cubic feet, which is probably enough for a few small items, but as soon as you put those 2 removable roof panels in there, everything is completely taken up.
And surprisingly enough, especially for a supercar, the vehicle also comes with a glove box, and it is locking. Not to mention, padded storage space, and a good amount of space overall.
For its day, the Carrera GT was likely the most exotic thing to ever come out of the Porsche studios. With incredible performance and engineering, it will forever be a supercar legend.
Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at this 2005 Porsche Carrera GT. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.